Tirathe Swami Shri Hari Prasad Ji, Her Excellency Consul General of US, Ms. Judith Ravin, His Excellency Consul General of Thailand, Mr. Nitiruj Phoni Persiat, Professor S.R. Bhatt, former Chairman, Indian Council of Philosophical Research, Mrs. Geetanjali, our former permanent representative to UN, and Gopika ji is also there. When Swamiji told me about this proposed conference on Kārya and Akārya, I found it very fascinating because this is the first time I've been taking part in so many seminars and conferences. But this subject, although indirectly this subject is mentioned in many discussions, but to focus the discussion on this particular subject, it is for the first time, Swamiji. And it is, I think we all know, because Gita, the first chapter, starts with Arjun Vishad, which means he did not know what to do. Everybody faces that crisis. But more important than Arjun, because Arjun, according to the legend, is the son of Indra. And Indra is not a very clear-headed god. So one can understand if Arjun was suffering from this confusion. More surprising is the confusion which was expressed and displayed by Dharmaraj Yudhishthira at the time of his coronation after the Mahabharata war. He was not ready to assume the duties of the kingship. He wanted to become a hermit. You have fought a war, you have won it, and now you are running away from the responsibility. So I find that vishad of that confusion of Yudhishthira more confounding than the confusion of Arjun, because Yudhishthira is the son of Dharma, where there is no confusion. Yet he expresses his confusion. King Kartavya Vimulhata, is that the right word, Vatsa? What to do and what not to do. In fact, he was not even confused. He had taken the decision that I don't want to be king. I want to become a hermit. After, like Ashok, after Kalinga, when he saw the blood and corpses, dead people, the destruction, mayhem, he sat on a hilltop. And after that, he was a changed man. He renounced violence. Here, Yudhishthira also seems to be in the same state. The realization that so many people have been killed. So many women have become widows. So many children have become orphans. Therefore, he says that I don't want to become king. I just want to remain a hermit. Then I mean, there is no chapter in Gita on it, but Mahabharata has details of that episode where Bhagwan Krishna told Yudhishthira, there is nothing wrong with being hermit. a hermit seeks meaning for himself, but a king is entrusted with the duty to create a world in which everybody can find meaning for herself or himself. So, for the Lok Sangrah, for the public welfare, for the good of the world, choose the later option, not out of obligation that you have won the war and now it is your duty to run the government, but out of empathy for humanity. I have some goal, I have to achieve something, I have to create a society where everybody has the opportunity to realize her or his potential and find a meaning for herself or himself. So that I find very, very important. And when Yudhishthira asked this question, that the other four brothers are also there, why only me? Why I should take this burden on me? I want to become a hermit, I will become a hermit. You can entrust the duty to any one of them. Then the reply which Bhagwan Krishna gave is absolutely stunning. He said, so Yudhishthira asked this question, that why you are insisting that I do not become a hermit and should take up the responsibilities of the kingship, administration. The reply which Bhagwan Krishna has given is absolutely fascinating. He says, it is you, not your brothers, who gambled away your kingdom. Therefore, you are in a better position to sympathize with human imperfections. You have suffered 13 years of exile, and you know the power of repentance and forgiveness. You have seen Duryodhan reject every offer of peace. You know the painful result of ego, aham, and adharma, unrighteousness. You have lied. Dharmaraj Yudhishthira is being told, you lied during the course of war to ensure that your teacher is killed. You know the complexities of dharma. This is a complexity. To act or not to act. Same as in the drama of William Shakespeare, to do or not to do. So these parables are there to impart wisdom, because every one of us faces this kind of situation in our lives. Then Bhagwan Krishna says that you are the one who has developed the capability to create a society where the head is balanced with heart, wealth with wisdom, and discipline with compassion. So, Yudhishthira, you come with your brothers on your side. Be Vishnu on earth. Be Vishnu on earth means take the responsibility to run the affairs of the society. And we must be clear that dharma is not about victory. Dharma is not about dominating others. It is about empathy and expansion of mind, which leads to wisdom. Yudhishthir knew the pain of losing children, young children. 5 of Pandavas who were killed by Ashwatthama. Therefore, Krishna told him that because you have suffered the loss of your children, therefore you can empathize with even the enemy rather than gloat on their defeat. In empathy, there is wisdom. This is, our national song, national anthem, not song, national anthem. Thrice the word Jai Ho, Jai Ho, Jai Ho. Possibly, Indian civilization possibly is the only one which has talked about 2 kinds of victories. Vijay, when you defeat your enemy, you overcome your rival and you dominate over him. That is Vijay. But India has given another word for victory, and that is Jai. Jai, the concept of Jai, the victory is where nobody loses, where nobody tries to dominate over the other, where there is win-win situation. In fact, when I read about it, what came to my mind was an African phrase, Ubuntu. We all win. There is a race of the children. Instead of running, they join each other's hand and they run towards the destination, and they call it Ubuntu. I am because you are. So India has that, and that possibly that explains what Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, Shreyan swadharmo viguna par dharmat su anushtitat. Swabhava niyatam karma. Kurvana nap noti kibilsham. I have left out the other shlok which says that swadharme nidhanam shireya par dharmo bhayava. I'm not quoting, I'm quoting this, because there some confusion arises in mind, as if the book is talking about the faith tradition in which you are born. This shlok is absolutely clear. What is the meaning of dharma according to Gita? The meaning here, it says that better is one's own duty, though not greatly honored, than the work of another, even if that is well performed. He who does work indicated by one's own nature incurs no problems. So we have to Atma nam vidhi. Know yourself. Knowing the self only, then you can determine what is your dharma. Pirkirti yanti bhutani, again from Mahabharata, which means that each one is born on a particular nature or disposition. And one is actuated in the performance of duties by that nature on which one is born. And therefore, elsewhere it has been said that na aksharo mantrahinam na moolam noshidham ayogye purusham nasti yojak istatra durlabha. There is not a single syllable which does not have the power of mantra. In Sanskrit, syllable is known as akshar. Akshar is something which can, akshar means literally something which cannot be destroyed. Vak pir baddo hi sansare. All affairs of the world are settled through communications. That is the power of word. Two indestructible units, two or more, come together and they form a word. If the syllable is so powerful that it cannot be destroyed, how the word can be destroyed? And there is not a single leaf, green vegetation, which does not have the power of medicine. And there is not a single human being in this world who is devoid of talent. Everyone has some talent specific to herself or himself. What is scarce is the person who can find out the talent and utilize it properly. There is no dearth of talent in this world. The dearth is of the people who can identify the talent and put it to proper use. So that again, it differs from individual to individual. After 1986, I faced very difficult situations, even physical threats, all kinds of things. There is a Muslim scholar, very well learned man in Delhi. He was among the few exceptions who supported my speech in Parliament. But few years back, we were together for dinner. And on some issue, I had written some article. He told me, he said, Arif Saab, I have supported you strongly, but on this issue, I disagree with you. I said, sir, if there is total agreement between you and me, then one of us is not really needed. And nature does not create human beings or things which are redundant. One of us becomes redundant. If we all think alike, if we all act alike, then what is the difference between us and the animals? Man is the only creation of the nature. Those who want to say nature, those who want to believe in God, is the only creation who has been given the power of imagination to think And when you become a thinking being, then you will be faced with these dilemmas. You will be faced with this kind of situations. And how beautifully dharma, we have done great injustice to dharma when we have used it as translation of religion. Highly unfair. Religion is mostly prescriptive for groups. Dharma is individual specific. Even individual, in different situations, in situations which are comfortable, peaceful, dharma is different than situation where there is emergency, there is distress, there is the times are difficult, adverse, then dharma becomes for the same person. I am son of somebody. There I have putra dharma. I am father of somebody. There I have pita dharma, the duties of the father. I am a spouse of somebody. There my religion is different. I am in a particular, I am in public life. There my religion is different. My dharma is different. So dharma basically is code of civilized conduct. Now, how to find out what is the, at a given point of time, or at a time when I am facing a critical situation, how to find out what my dharma is? Dharma has complexities, not just complex, full of complexities. And as I said earlier, even the Dharmaraj, who is son of Dharma, got confused. So here it has been said, and I find it very beautiful. Vidam chevam na va vidame shakyam va veditu nava aniyana chura thara gariya napi parvatat gandharva nagara kara pirthamam sampir dirashyate anvikchanaya mana kavibhi punar gachat darshanam. Whether we know dharma or we do not know dharma, whether it is knowable or it is not knowable, this comes in from the Shanti Parv in Mahabharata. Dharma is finer than the finest edge of a sword. And more substantial than a mountain. It has both the qualities. On first sight, it appears clear and solid like a town. On a close look, it vanishes from view. When we say that scriptures are authority, if we feel lost, if we are not able to find, we are not certain, we are not sure what course of action should be adopted, then we may refer to the books of wisdom. You can call them scriptures. Already, sir, already 25, so I will try to sum it up. Sum it up.
You have no problem with
So, I can various places it has been asserted. Sukshamo dharma maharaja nase vidmo vayam gatim. Which is like walking on the edge of a sword. It is so fine. So we are not really able to fully understand and grasp the profundity of the concept, the gravity. But later in the same Shanti Parv, it has been said, Akarano hi nehasti dharma sukshma hi. Dharma is complex. It is like the edge of the sword. But this I find the later part of the line, the saving grace. How it indicates how to understand the dharma. Because it says, but remember, there is no text without context. So try to know the context, and then that may help you to overcome the crisis. I have already told you that we have this guideline that if you are feeling lost, you are not certain, then go to the Shastras. But further, we have been told that the Shastras, the books, can help only those who use their reason and intelligence. Shastras cannot help those who just try to emulate things. Shastras are helpful only to those who use their own reason and intelligence. Yasya nasti swayam pragya shastram tasya karoti kim lochanabhyam vihinasya darpana kim karishyati. What sub-scriptures do for someone who does not have his own reason, intelligence, and conscience, consciousness and understanding. What can a mirror do for a person who does not have sight, who has lost his sight? Mirror cannot help that person. You can't see your face in the mirror if you are losing sight. So is the case with the Shastras. Shastras can be helpful only to those who use their reason and intelligence. This is most important because there cannot be any standard formula which can be prescribed. And never forget that whereas other traditions in the world are prescriptive, Indian tradition is highly speculative. Speculative to the extent where even the believer is saying, Iyam visrishtir yat abhuv yadiva dadhe yadivana. Yo asya adhyaksha parmo vyomantaso ang ved yadivana ved. A believer is saying, who has created this universe? Who runs the affairs of this universe? Does the one sitting somewhere up there knows who has created and who is running the affairs? Or even that one does not know who has created and who is running the affairs of this world. So the Indian tradition is highly speculative, and that is the reason why historically Indian culture and civilization was described as knowledge civilization, not by Indians, by non-Indians. If you refer to 11th and 12th century Arab historians who have written, that is the time when European Renaissance was taking off. Europe had not at that time the Renaissance had not fully taken off, but Middle East was rife with intellectual activities. And that is the time when they started writing history. The first historian is Tabri, but you refer to anybody. Everybody has 9 volumes, 11 volumes, 10 volumes. What they say? They say at that time, the US is not mentioned there because we had not found, the world had not found US by that time. But it says that the world has 5 major civilizations. Tabri says in the first chapter itself, while discussing the civilizations of the world, he says there are 5 dominant civilizations in the world. The Persian civilization is known for its majesty, splendor. The Roman civilization is known for its beauty and chivalry. Turks are known for their bravery. Chinese are known for their craftsmanship and obedience to the rulers. The 5th civilization, Indian civilization, is the only civilization which is known for promotion of knowledge and wisdom. So Indian culture and civilization has been described as knowledge civilization. Tapa swadhyay nirittam, ever devoted to the pursuit of knowledge. When Swami Vivekananda was asked, what is the goal of life? He said, generally people believe that pursuit of happiness is the goal of life. He said, pursuit of happiness. If we accept pursuit of happiness to be the goal, summum bonum of our life, then who will prevent me from making others unhappy in order to secure greater happiness for myself? If that is the goal of life, then what is the goal of life? He said the goal of life is acquisition of knowledge, tapa swadhyay nirittam, ever devoted to this task. Then he was asked, then what is the goal of knowledge? What is the purpose of knowledge? He said the purpose of knowledge is to build your capacity. When you develop the ability to see underlying unity behind apparent diversities, that is the purpose of knowledge. The day you learn it, the day you realize it, the day you internalize it, then it will become impossible for you to transgress into the sanctuary of the another. That will become sacred for you. Why? Because that means accepting that underlying unity and realizing that is acknowledging the basic, not basic, the foundational virtue of Indian civilization. Aham brahmasmi tattvam-asi. And in my opinion, that the same divinity dwells in me, and that very divinity dwells in you. We are all spiritually linked. We are one whole. The highest Indian ideal, or I may say Sanatan ideal, is integration of personality, ekatmata, which reconciles an individual to her own self, the society, and the Supreme Spirit, where you live in harmony with your own self, with the society, and with the Supreme Spirit. How does that become possible? Only when you finally are convinced that this same Paramatma in the form of Atma, the Supreme Spirit in the form of soul, lives in each one of us. Once I recognize the divinity of the other person, my divinity, same as your divinity. When I bow before you, I say namaskar or pranam. I do not bow before an individual. I bow before the divinity which exists in you. If I recognize and acknowledge the divinity in you, how can I think of doing anything which will hurt you? And to my mind comes a beautiful, I do not know if I have ever mentioned it here, but that is one of my favorite stories. It comes from Semitic tradition. Rabbi Hillel, a pagan comes to him, a non-Jew comes to him and says, Rabbi, I am ready to accept your religion, embrace your religion, provided you stand up on one leg and read out the whole Torah. Rabbi Hillel did not dismiss him. He immediately stood up, took the book in his hand and said, do not do unto others what is hurtful to you, and sat down. This man said, such a thick tome, and you have finished it in less than a minute. He said, this is the whole of Torah, rest is commentary, go home and read it. Similarly, in our tradition, when this confusion came, the confusion has been expressed beautifully by Yudhishthira himself. Tarko pratishtha shirutayo vibhinna neko rishi yassa vacha pirmanam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gata sapantha. Meaning that there are so many shrutis, there are so many smritis, so many views given by various rishis and munis. I do not know which one to believe and take guidance from. I'm not going into the details, but this confusion has always existed. The compiler of all our wisdom, he dissolved it in 2 lines. Compiler of our Indian wisdom is Vyas. And Vyas said it so beautifully in just 2 lines. Oh God, there are many books here. Don't get confused by the number of the books and the opinions given by various people, learned sages, rishi, muni, thought leaders. Don't get confused. They have tried to explain the same principle, same idea through different methods and different words. Sarva Shastra Puraneshu Vyasasya Vachanam Durva Parokarastu Punyai Papai Parpirna. That is the essence of Indian wisdom. That is the essence of Vedanta. That is the essence of all our ancient scriptures. All books say, know this thing which is coming from me. Vyasa is saying, Vyasasya Vachanam Dhurvam. This is indisputable truth. What is the indisputable truth? Doing good to others is meritorious. And if you hurt others, then that is sinful. And there are consequences. The karma theory is there. I would like to conclude with 2 small anecdotes to understand what dharma is. Swami Vivekananda, when he was going to USA, to Chicago, on the eve of his departure, he went to pay his respects to Guru Ma Sharda Devi, wife of his Guru Paramhans Ramakrishna. And she had known that he is going to lecture at Parliament of Religions, and then he has planned to stay in USA and talk about Sanatan Dharma and our values, etc., etc. She already knew this. And Swami Vivekananda went to seek her blessings. When Swami Vivekananda reached there, she was sitting, and in front of her was a basket full of vegetables. As soon as he sat down, she asked him, she said, Narendra, can you please go to the kitchen and fetch me a knife because I have to prepare this for the lunch. He went there. He brought the knife. While handing over the knife to Guru, his teacher's, his Guru's mother, his Guru's wife, who was for him was mother, he held the knife from the blade side and handle he gave to the mother. Mother put the knife down and she said, I'm not going to cut any vegetables. I only wanted to test you whether you have become qualified to talk about dharma. I give you my blessings, now you go. You do. Because you have caught the blade side which can hurt somebody. And to somebody else you have given the handle to hold, which cannot hurt. This is all what dharma is about. And if we understand this dharma, then the problem of Kārya and Akārya will not bother us. And I will conclude. The other anecdote is again from Mahabharata, where after the war was over, things had become normal, tempers had cooled down. Gandhari told Bhagwan Krishna, she said, Krishna, I'm going to die as a childless mother. I had 100 sons. And I will die as childless. You could have spared at least one of them. Out of the 100, you could have spared one of them so that I would not have died as a childless mother. Bhagwan Krishna told her, he said, who am I? Eko deva sarvbhuteshu godha. सर्वव्यापी सर्वभूतांतरात्मा कर्म प्रधान सर्वभूताधिवासी साक्षी चेता केवलो निर्गुणश्च कर्म प्रधान. Who am I to kill your sons? You do not remember when you were a small girl. You were a princess, but you were very fond of cooking food. You had gone to the kitchen. You were preparing something, and the extra hot water you threw on the ground, which entered into a hole which had 100 eggs of an insect. And the mother insect cursed you that, like I have seen my eggs being destroyed by this hot water, the one who has done this will also see killing of her 100 children. This is what, once we internalize the lesson which comes from this anecdote, is it possible for us that we can think of hurting anybody by our action? Our actions will become absolutely clear. And in the last, I will say that Mahatma Gandhi has, because he was an ardent student of Gita particularly, and our tradition generally. What he has told us, he has told us, whatever you are doing, just keep the last man in your mind. If your action is going to help him, go all the way. But think about him. if your action is not going to be beneficial to him, if your action is not going to help him, or it is going to hurt him, simply abandon it. That possibly those words Mahatma Gandhi has said in the light of his experiences, and more than that, his study of Gita and our tradition. Thank you very much. I think I have taken more time than was allotted to me. Thank you very much. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Jai Hind.